We're getting ready to ship off to the deserted island once and for all with our final mixtape. Final bags packed. We got the System of a Down whittled down, so there's no reason to live here anymore. We're gonna go leave society behind. It's our perfect mixtape, and see y'all later. My name's Ben.
My name's Michael, and this is the Polymuse Experience.
Welcome one and all. We'll see you later. They're gonna take us to some island off the coast of Costa Rica, an uncharted territory, and they're gonna leave us there with our little mixtape there that we created with you, our fans. But before we go, what do you got to tell them before we go? You got any last words?
No.
These will be our last words and
This is
testament.
it.
This will be the final podcast.
You got them
It
here.
won't be because we got plenty more coming down. We got lots of artists coming up. Here we go though. System of a Down, Soldier Side. Hypnotize.
The last track. Told from the perspective, Serge stated, as a mother whose sons have gone off to war. So another very strong, emotionally tugging track. You have some real writing on here. Dead man lying on the bottom of the grave, wondering when saviors come, is he going to be saved? They were crying when their sons left. All young men must go. He's come so far to find the truth. He's never going home.
That might be some of the best writing they've ever done, honestly. The poetry of it, it's not even metaphors. It's just blatant what they're going through. It's not sappy at all, though. It's just real blunt. Like, I could see this meaning a lot to people who have family in the military. It's like very straight face, very just tackling the real brunt emotions of how this feels for a family to go through.
Yeah, even the outro, welcome to the soldier side, where there's no one here but me. People all grow up to die. There's no one here but me. And it's repeated again. And that's the outro to the entire album.
And the career to this point,
yes,
for the most part.
For the most part, other than the two tracks we'll cover later that were just released in 2020.
But this is a good outro, climax for their career. It builds, it's creepy, it paints a picture in your mind.
It does, a terrible picture. Yes, another song that's very blatant. Again, there's a little interpretation, but it's not like trying to figure out a political stance or stance on the media, anything like that they often produce.
Yeah, it's more tied to actual, what it would feel like to go through it. It's not like trying to tackle the whole media machine or try to dismantle systems of censorship and oppression. It's just talking about like, this is what happened. And the guitar playing's amazing.
Yep.
The way that they've got that lead in there, it just brings a lot of the styles that they've done. It's kind of there's a lot of power ballads on this album.
Yes.
And this is one of them. But it's a perfect end to the album. And it's a perfect closer to, it would be a good closer to like a live set for them.
Yeah,
or greatest hits for them.
We have both vocalists. You could sing along with this.
Singing their heart out.
Yeah.
Not back and forth. Just had to be both of them.
So yeah, another strong track. I'm not sure that we do anything particularly stand out from some of the other System of a Down songs, but a nice, meaningful, powerful track in message and delivery.
Hypnotize really, really fits together as a certain flavor of System of a Down. It's like even more so than I think any of the other albums. All the songs kind of fit as one complete package or one shade of the System of a Down. So this kind of sums up. It's got that Lonely Day in there. It's tones of Holy Mountains, tones of everything that's come before it. You've got, the beginning of the album, you've got Attack and Dreaming and these more intense songs. And then at this other end, you got their progressive songs. They chug along. They have their high notes and their low points and their high intensity points, but it's not like the punk stuff that comes in and out of some of their albums. It's just got its own lane, basically.
Absolutely. What did you grade Soldier Side?
I'll give it an A. Straight A.
Straight
That's
A?
a straight A record. That's a really good song. Lyrically, instrumentally, the tone. It takes you on a journey. It shows you a full emotional palette. It's tragic. It's not something you always want to hear. It's something you can just kind of enjoy the power of it and enjoy singing along to it. If you don't pay too much attention to it, you can still just get by on just a really powerful, headbanging, intense song. But it's not something that I need on the mixtape to hear every day. But I give them an A.
I gave it a B+, not quite an A for me, because I don't think there's any tracks that, or any piece of it that's particularly stands out against versus other tracks that they put together, but still a very strong piece in their catalog. That was the last track there from Hypnotize. There was a track that was cut from this album that made it onto one of Surge's albums released in 2010 called The Charade. There is footage out there floating of them rehearsing that. So did not make this project, but made one of his personal projects later on down the road. But overall, a really swell album.
A heck of a way to end a career, dude. Let's have a listen. Let's have a little listen here to Soldier Side Part 2 by System of a Down. Soldier Side, the last side you're gonna see, man. This was side B of the last slab of the last album of the last thing they ever pretty much did almost.
Yeah, it was.
It's the side. It's a soldier side of their career. The career did not die by suicide or homicide. It died by soldier side. They were soldiers. They got sent off to other duties, to other wars to fight. They got other messages to get across. All the guys in this have done, quite well for themselves. Serge and Darren both have very deep solo careers where they've gone into lots of music. They were off. They're soldiers, man. They got to keep fighting. They got to keep bringing the message to the people.
Absolutely. So they did tour for both of these albums, Hypnotize and Mesmerize, as part of Ozfest in 2006. Ozzy Osbourne's old festival there, which happened every year. It was actually 2006 was the first year where he stepped to the side a bit. I wanted to give other acts more of a headline, and it's my understanding that he actually missed a few of the actual dates. So System of a Down had a chance to actually take on as the headlining act a few times. But it was System of a Down, Ozzy Osbourne, Disturbed, Hatebreed, Avenged Sevenfold, several of the popular bands. Dragon Force was there, Atreyu, Black Label Society.
And System got to headline, man. That shows how they can go across all different types of metal, all different demographics, and just reach so many people to be entertaining on that level on the big stage. That was supposed to be Ozzy's night, where he's like the most famous guy, kind of the godfather of a lot of this kind of music. And for System to fill those shoes, not fill the shoes, obviously, but to be the go-to act, the replacement backup act for Ozzy, that is pretty high praise.
Yeah, absolutely. I have never been to Ozfest. The last one was in 2017 at this point, I believe. I did go to Mayhem Fest once. I did see Disturbed, System of a Down,
nice,
whole bunch of groups.
Where was
there. That was at, in Michigan here, that was at Pine Knob, we now call it DTE. Energy
Pine
Theater.
Knob, actually, again.
Is it?
They changed the name to Pine Knob.
All right. Well, yeah, they had 3 stages going there with all kinds of bands, so that was pretty cool to see.
That's
and this
intense.
Ozfest was similar with multiple stages, multiple bands going on.
How rowdy were people? Was it like a crazy crowd, or were people kind of more chill?
It was rowdy. It was raining. People were mudsliding because it's a big hill.
Yeah, it is.
Slipknot was interesting. One of the
I would have loved to see that.
One of the percussionists, one of the drummers, had busted both knees in a performance 2 nights earlier. So he was up there just trying to hang in. Couldn't do a lot of jumping around or anything, so he had 2 broken knees.
Quite the stunts.
Yeah,
the stuntman.
Exactly. Yeah, Ozfest.
That is quite a stacked. Was that all on the same day?
Yeah. Yeah, Ozfest, of course. I mean, Loudwire has a ranked list of all 16 Ozfests ranked.
Oh, really?
According to which one was the best one.
And?
In 2006, ranked as number 7, so not quite the best.
But when did you see?
Towards the middle. So I saw.
You didn't see Ozfest. You saw Mayhem.
Fest.
That sounds so similar.
I know.
It sounds like even more Mayhem.
I was.
Like, that sounds classic.
Yeah.
I want to see all those bands. System must just kill it, dude. They're so tight, just the 4 of them, just all the music coming from that power trio. I would love to see System live. That would be incredible.
Yeah, we'll have to get back and see them. Again, they mostly tour west coast of the United States, and they had a few international dates recently, but nowhere near where we're at right now in the mitten.
So you survived, though? I mean, it wasn't too mayhem-inducing?
I survived. It was a little wild. Saw there, got the T-shirt.
All you got was this crappy T-shirt.
Yeah. But what a great run for System. 5 albums in, 5 albums to rotate around. Of course, we were not as big of fans of Steal This Album. We had the self-titled, Toxicity.
Imagine if you had paid for that album, the one you were supposed to steal. You would have been even more disappointed.
Yeah. Well, again, we were borrowing from the library CDs. We were
buying tracks, individual tracks.
Sharing buying, yeah.
We would listen to music. They
Yeah.
can't stop us from listening to it. If you say, I'm going to play you this song,
Right.
I'm like, oh, well, did you send them royalty money? Sorry. No, it doesn't work that way. As long as you're not publicly performing it. If you're playing it at a bar and stuff, you do have to pay royalties. You
Yeah.
gotta pay your little, to ASCAP if you're playing music, entertainment, if you're broadcasting.
You still get royalty tracks or royalty checks, don't you?
I-
For your tracks on.
Oh, yeah. Itemized. Penny by penny, they show what each stream is worth. It's not worth a lot. I'm assuming systems check is quite a bit bigger. We'll start. Guys, what's up? How's the Polymuse fan base? The Polymuse. I don't want to call them an army after all we've learned about
The Polly Pockets.
the Poly. I don't hate it. I don't hate it because it's like we're in their pocket because we're in their iPods and they're in our ears. We're in their ears. I don't hate it. I don't want to call them an army after all the different, well, all we've learned from system about big corporations, big armies, big government. We don't want to have an army, so we'll just have the Polly Pocket.
Yeah.
Makes a
that
lot of
sounds good.
sense to me.
Does it?
We'll see what they call themselves, how they self-identify.
TBD. Maybe a working name.
They know who we mean. The faithful listeners of the Polymuse experience. We come along. We did a lot of Linkin Park. We did a lot of System of a Down. We've got 2 entire catalogs of music in the bag, reviewed on the spreadsheet. We're going to break those numbers down when we review the final 2 system tracks on an upcoming episode. But we have really just a monumental amount of music that even though it's 5 albums, they're all like fully realized. Like each song means something. It's got its own point of view, its own message. And we've kind of just,
Yeah,
We've
stuck
gone-
with us.
it's stuck with us. We've gone on the journey.
I think more than bands like Korn or Mudvayne
Right.
or Disturbed, I listened to quite a bit more. Not more in System of a Down, but more than Korn and some of the other groups. But System of a Down was right up there for me. I think that's why we spent so much time.
But do they stand
covering them
out
here.
much more
I think so.
than Disturbed than these other bands? They're more alternative, more of a personality.
Yes, I think so. And it's the range between covering some of the things that are very close to them, the Armenian side, political, different pieces of the political landscape, media, then switching between some of the non-serious tracks and the kind of nothingness that they hit and some of the just fun instrumentals that they play along with those kind of tracks. That always stuck with me more so than Korn, Slipknot, Mudvayne, Avenged Sevenfold.
They're catchier than all those guys. They can write a hook better. Their rhythms are punchier. They flow better. They've got that punk element in there, that folk element in there. It's just a better stew. It's a better punch. It's punchier, grabs you more. The melodies are better, and they're better at singing than their contemporaries too. If you think of, I mean, there's some good vocalists, obviously, but in terms of like some of those big acts, Slipknot, Korn, Disturbed, System has the best vocalists
Yeah, that's true.
for the melodic type of singing. I mean,
Maybe-
there's different styles. Obviously,
Yes.
they're not doing the same thing as everybody else, but for that, just, choral. I mean, how many of these other guys tour with an orchestra? Like Serge plays with like an orchestra, and he does
When he tours, yep.
like operatic music, and there's a lot of metal singers that are just not capable of singing opera.
Yeah, that's probably why they stuck with me more than anyone else, was that singing aspect of it. I'd have to
Definitely
say.
took it to another level than a lot of these guys. A lot of the vocals is an afterthought for a lot of metal bands. They just have some grunting, some whatever, and there's an art to that as well, but it's just a lot of this, it's just not a singing type of experience for a lot of this other kind of alternative metal music at the time.
Yeah, System just shows a different vocal range, I think. But we'll see if we decide to dip our toes more into the
could do
discographies of some
Korn.
of those groups.
Have they changed our
We'll
lives?
break that down as well.
Not as much as System,
Not as much.
but there's still time.
Yeah, we'll slot them in right after Lindsay.
I agree. That'll be season next. Season 3 's about to be. I love System. I will always love them. I kept thinking they would make more, I can't believe it's been 20 years, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Like, to me, it's like yesterday, and it's like they could just pick up right where they left off and drop the next album, and it would be exactly, to me, it does not feel like it was quite so long ago.
Right. And Serge releasing his different projects, a very different array. And we'll tackle one of his more recent pieces as well here, upcoming Scars of Broadway for Darren as well. But even though they've continued on their different ventures, it's just not quite the same as System of a Down. So being able to revisit these 5 albums is just a whole different experience.
We want more. We want a whole big chunk more. If they could do one more really good album that was on this caliber, I would appreciate it. It would be to do a one, just they're capable of it. That's the thing. Is like it's more than possible. I feel like they could just get together and crap out a masterpiece, at least on the level of Steal This Album. And
Well,
then, if they actually tried and wrote and worked and got along, they could do something. They could do something even better than these. They are perfectly capable, I think, of topping all 5 of these albums, honestly, if they...
yeah, with years of maturity and building and time away and producing other projects coming back together and working, I think they could certainly do that. Another memorable project.
Not a lot of bands who could say that, but I do believe if anyone could come back 20 years later and make a perfect reunion album that sticks up with their other albums, it would be System of a Down.
And then they could tour on Mayhem Fest.
They should.
Well, we are the cousins you know and love. And like we stated, we'll be tackling the last couple songs that System of a Down put out together and a couple of their side projects coming up. But this has been the core 5 albums of System of a Down. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive experience. I'm Michael.
My name's Ben.
5-star us, review us, love us, hate us, agree with us, disagree. Let us know. We'll spin with you later.
It's been a journey, guys. Take care.